Hey, what's up, everyone? Wanted to put together Hawthorne back 9. I haven't created any content for this yet, so I wanted to just take this time to see if we can't go through here. So this is the back tee box, and what I'll typically do here, we got a slight tailwind. I'll typically try to lay up in front of these doors kind of as best as possible. Thinking something along the lines, depending on how much of a tailwind I have, it's either going to be just a basic or it'll be a bronze tee that I try to lay up with. Another thing that I can try to do is I can try to carry it just a wee bit farther, and maybe even javelin it. Now what that does is it kind of allows you to play less wind if you do it that way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. They typically align you pretty good here. This looks like I'm maybe about here. We're going to try to play, you have to play a decent amount of wind here. So, there's kind of two parts. You need to play kind of the effect and then also the ball effect after it actually gets on the ground. So one of the biggest mistakes, at least that I was doing early on, is I was kind of under adjusting this when I'd see this wind. But this is kind of more or less kind of the way that I go about doing this here. And we just want to make sure that we kind of are happy with where we've pulled down. That looked pretty good. Almost went with that. Either one of these. So, again, we just want to try to make sure that we're kind of as perfect as possible here. With our alignment, this looks pretty good. And I didn't even need all that. I didn't need all that. I could have done that without the ball. I like to land on that dirt, so you can see that I almost landed beyond it. When you start to land behind it, that's when you potentially get yourself too close to these doors and can't get through. So you can see that, basically more or less, I'm just kind of intentionally playing it short. Now with this upslope and the downwind, I'm thinking maybe just going 3-wood here. So you can see with how much wind I'm playing. And what you'll see is there's an upslope here, so it's not going to want to roll out quite as far. So where it says 282, and with the tailwind, it would probably typically land 284 or roll out to 284, 285. It's not going to make it to there. So with a front pin, I do have to be just a little bit cautious that this makes it up onto the green. But since I have the tailwind, I'm willing to risk it here. Now, if I wouldn't have had a tailwind, I wouldn't have done this. But it was the tailwind that allowed me to... Oh, wow, and the 3-wood doesn't even roll up there. Wow, the driver makes it up there easily. So as I mentioned, I'm typically not even that far. That was kind of the first time that I've ever actually played that. So, alternatively, what we would have done is we would have hit a driver and maybe taken off 2%. Not very much. And as I mentioned, the driver just scoots up there, no problem. So I figured that the 3-wood would at least roll up 5 yards. I know I've done a 3-wood with a tailwind before, and it's rolled up there. But as you can see, without the tailwind, it just really doesn't want to. Nevertheless, we're not dead in the water here. We can still try to go for this. So kind of two things I typically might do. I might use... but I'm gonna go with the streak here in this situation, and I'm about quarter club. The biggest mistake here is people will typically kind of underplay this wind. So you can see with how much wind I'm playing here, it's pretty substantial, and we're looking somewhere around quarter club. So, you'll have to make sure that you're above the, there's some uphill here. So I'm thinking, at least kind of in the 30-ish% zone here. So you'll see that I'm kind of going a bit over, and you can also see, you know, I've played a substantial amount of wind even at a quarter. So imagine if this was a half club and just a wee bit too much, like that's, you know, a cup over less. So if I could have, you know, just judged that but you can see the distance control was perfect. I should have had that eagle though, in all honesty. When you drive it that good, you don't want to kind of squander that away. The only other thing that I could have done is I could have went topspin 3-wood. So if I wanted to actually genuinely hit that 3-wood, I could have did it with a topspin ball. Just to make sure that it creeps up there. But again, you know, just kind of a you know, just a mistake from not hitting a 3-wood in so long, and I was so far, and with the tailwind, I typically go driver and just kind of percentage it, and I almost did. I should have just stuck with that. But since I really felt that it would probably just roll up there, and it would have had it, you know, just had a little bit more momentum. It was pretty much perfect weight for the 3-wood. It just, you can see that it just dies on that concrete. So you need to either streak it or, you know, just kind of stick with the driver there. But good luck with that first one. I'll catch you guys on this second one momentarily.